Gary, how's it going? How's it going, Elizabeth? Kathleen, hello. Gary? James? Lisa, how you doing? Kevin? Kevin's had a busy day. Chad, how you doing? Carolyn, how are you? Give it a couple seconds here, guys. Still have a couple more coming in. Cindy Lou, how's it going? Kathleen bought 25 more Litecoin. Good job, Kathleen. If you can hold those for 5 years, you're going to be in really good shape. Sharon, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get it started. Swampwatch, 11/24/19. Chris Wallace, Fox News. This guy is the biggest deep state globalist I think there is at Fox, and Fox has got some pretty good ones. It's embarrassing how horrid he is. Edward R. Murrow is rolling over in his grave watching Chris Wallace. What a hack. What a globalist hack. It is clear, crystal clear, to anyone with an IQ over 50 that has done 10 minutes worth of homework, there isn't one shred of evidence that there is a hint of any wrongdoing by the president. 100% legit. Yet this clown is going to take from the Washington Post an unconfirmed report that the FISA document is going to say that although there was some changing of the 302, it wasn't really relevant to issuing the FISA warrant. That's not at all what it says. We know from the other people who have seen it, and I'm talking about, senators and congressmen, and these guys don't want to lie about it because they don't want to pull a Schiff, right? Tell us there's something there that there isn't. And what every single one has said is this is going to be devastating for the Democrats. This goes all the way to the top. It shows clear-cut treason. Yet Wallace is trying to make it sound like it raises more doubts about whether the president's been honest. It is utterly embarrassing. You wonder why the ratings for these clowns are dropping like rocks. It's because I don't know how you can keep a straight face and report this garbage. It is well, Chris Wallace is a close friend of Ryan. Well, it all has to do, guys. This has nothing to do with friendships. This has nothing to do with likes or dislikes. This has to do with they've got videotape of Chris Wallace and they're telling him what to say or else and paying him a salary, blah, 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 blah. He's a CIA asset, just like all the rest of these people. And there's a really good chance he's going to be indicted for treason. You know, this is something that the Germans tried. What all these clowns are going to say is that, you know, they were ordered to do it. That's what the Germans tried after the Second World War, and they executed hundreds of them. Because that doesn't fly. You know, just because someone ordered you to do it doesn't mean you have the legal authority to do it. And that could be whatever you're talking about, whether it's murdering Jews or you're involved in a conspiracy to overthrow the President of the United States. Either way, it's not going to fly. Oh, well, somebody told me to do this, to try and destroy the president. Sorry. You know, and if they can show that there were people working together to do this, and that's what's happening, because the CIA, Project Mockingbird, they were giving the scripts to these radio stations. Mainstream media outlets. The radio stations back in the 40s. Now, in the beginning, you know, it was baby steps because they're just getting their feet wet and they're moving this yardstick along inch by inch, slowly but surely. Now what we're seeing is desperation because he is so exposed. And here's the other thing that really ticks me off is these Republicans, instead of calling him on his crap and not letting him get away with those questions and stopping him and say, wait a minute, that's not a legitimate question. Because this is coming secondhand, you know, unconfirmed report. What I'm hearing is totally different than what you're hearing. And what I'm hearing, it's devastating to the Democrats, going all the way up to the White House for the Obama administration. That's how they should be responding to those questions. And not taking it, you know, when you answer a question like that. And so what he, basically, the way he phrased the question, it made it sound like this unconfirmed report from the Washington Post was fact. And instead of, I think it was Zeldin, and Zeldin is, you know, he's trying to do the right thing, but these guys got to get smarter about this. Because when he doesn't challenge that assumption by Wallace, and he's just letting him walk in this bullshit assumption from an unconfirmed report from the Washington Post, he's basically giving it credence. He's basically accepting, to the viewers at least, he didn't say anything. Must be a legitimate question. So it makes them think that what they're talking about is reality, and it's not. It's a question based on garbage. You know, tell me how many times the Washington Post has been wrong in the last year. About as often as CNN, which is every single day. These guys are flat out lying on almost every report, and if you took 5 minutes to look at the facts, you'd find out that it's all smoke and mirrors, a way to shift the narrative, to shift the focus. You know, these guys should be backpedaling like crazy right now, but they're not. It's full steam ahead because that's all they've got. The Republicans have got to stand up. They got to man up and not take this crap anymore. Start fighting back in these interviews, not accepting these questions. Hammer them. It's got to stop. Let these guys get away with murder. I would love for them to interview me. Oh, God. I'd tear them up. Yeah, and then asking the questions like it's a legitimate question. What do you think? Is the president going to be impeached? Oh, God. Bring it on. They're not going to impeach the president because you know what would happen? All these bullshit rules that Schiff has been pushing forward, which are totally unconstitutional, if they were challenged, he'd be thrown out. He should be thrown out. Oh, God. Damn it. Where was I going? Shoot. Oh, the whole process. It's you know, when you're going to accuse someone of a crime in this country, they have a right to challenge their accusers, to cross-examine their accusers, to present evidence to defend themselves. This was not allowed. If they take a vote on impeachment, first of all, I don't think they have the votes. Remember, this isn't a majority vote. This is a supermajority. It's 2/3. The Democrats have to get 2/3. Hell, they can't even get all the Democrats. What that means is not only do they have to get all the Democrats, they've got to get quite a few of the Republicans too to go along with them. How's that going to work? Unless these guys are through with politics and they're going to sacrifice themselves, they're not going to vote against the president. So they've got two problems. One is, even if they got it through the House and they got the votes they needed, when it got to the Senate, it goes to a trial. And now the president's lawyers can call whoever they want to testify. It will completely destroy the Democratic Party if he's allowed to do that. Now, you know, I don't think they're going to go that route. If they do, they're throwing themselves on the sword because it's just a suicide mission to extend this a few weeks, you know, to keep the ball rolling. Because I don't know what happens here. I think, well, here's what I think. I think they're on, I think they're out of session. I think before they go back to session, which is the first part of December, there's going to be a lot fewer of them sitting in Congress. I think that the rest are going to start between now and their return, their scheduled return, which I don't have the exact date, but again, it's the first part of December. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't think. I just don't see how because you can't arrest a sitting member of Congress when they're in session. So that leaves a few windows where they can get this done on the people that need to be removed. And there's a slew of them. Like I said, I think there's 535 total members, Senate and House. And they say all but 90 of those are going to be indicted. All but 90. So what is that? 445 or something? It's we're at the end here, guys. I don't think that we get to Christmas. I think they've got to start arresting people. I think there are going to be several members of Congress who are missing when they come back. Secretary of Navy was fired. This Eddie Gallagher deal, the SEAL, who was really a hero, who the Obama administration, some ridiculous charge. He basically shot a guy that I don't know whether it was self-defense, it was completely legitimate, and they tried to hang this guy, basically. And now the Secretary of the Navy, he wants to get in the middle of it and basically challenge the president. See ya. Adios. He's gone. That's the difference, guys. These people, where they kind of handled him with kid gloves in the past, up until now, basically, now they're getting the hammer. They're getting the boot. A whole different attitude now. The president and his team are on offense right now. Yeah, and the one of the quoting Schiff now, the evidence is overwhelming. Evidence of what? Show us. There's not one shred of evidence that they've provided. It's just comical. If it wasn't so sad, it would be comical. And Schiff, even who in the world right now would believe a word out of Adam Schiff's mouth? He is a blatant and confirmed, many times confirmed, liar. When can you tell? When has he ever told the truth? Virtually everything that's come out of his mouth for 3 years has been a lie, and probably everything for the last 20 years has been a lie. Yeah, Gallagher shot an Afghani. Yeah, they were fighting for a gun or something. Clear cut, man. When you're in war, this is a joke. This should have never gone. This should have never happened to this hero. Typical Obama era crap. And why the military hated Obama, and rightfully so, because they knew he was a traitor. Okay. Oh, God. And another thing, they're trying to say that the chief of staff, Schiff said, that the chief of staff confirmed a statement that there was quid pro quo. Number one, that isn't illegal. Quid pro quo isn't illegal. The president, if everything they said the president did, let's assume that everything so far that the Democrats accuse the president of doing is true, and the president admitted to it. It's not illegal. Not a damn thing they said he did is illegal. They're trying to throw these words in there. It was bribery. It was extortion. Listen, you can call it whatever you want. It wasn't illegal. He was following the law. Here's where they got him. He's following the law that Clinton signed about working together with the Ukraine to end corruption. One of the points in this legislation is we have to ensure that they're taking steps to eliminate corruption. So he's well within his rights to ask about investigations they've got going on, and if he's aware of any criminal misconduct, which he is, perfectly within his rights and within the boundaries of that legislation to ask those questions. It's comical. They're trying to make this out as being illegal. It's all about the narrative, guys. And say what you want about these idiots, the liberals, the Democrats. They're very good at the propaganda. They've got it down pat. They know how to work the propaganda machine. They're experts at it. They've been doing it now for 60 plus years. But we have to start fighting back. We can't take it. You know, they're outsmarting the conservatives when they're doing these interviews. They're getting away with murder, and we're letting them. Got to go on the attack and not take this anymore. Because of the timing of where we're at, JFK, the anniversary of his assassination was a couple of days ago, and there's been a lot of speculation about JFK Jr. and, alive, not alive, where is he, what's going on. Vincent Fusca, we've talked about that. Anybody who's new, go to YouTube and search for Vincent Fusca, Fusca. There are a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to the question about JFK Jr. and if he's alive or not. It's 20 years ago, right? I still kind of remember. Again, one of the reasons was because you thought that he might have some of the spark of his dad and would get into politics and maybe make a difference. So when he died, I kind of paid attention. Because one, it just from the beginning, it was fishy to me. The way the whole thing went down. First of all, they claimed, all the news reports claimed that he wasn't certified to fly by instruments, and that he flew on a day where there was terrible weather that he shouldn't have been flying in. So they kind of tried to put it back on him that, he really wasn't experienced for what he was doing. Totally fabricated. There was 10-mile visibility the night that he went down, supposedly went down. Not a cloud in the sky. Why the lie? It took him 5 days. I think 5 days to even start the search. Are you kidding me? When someone like this, who's basically political royalty in this country, you don't see that kind of response. If anything, they overblow. You know, they send out the whole fleet. And like yesterday, not 5 days from now, totally makes absolutely no sense. Then cremation, for somebody of that stature, being Catholic, not really likely that that's what really would have happened. The whole thing with their dog, you know, they had a dog they loved. They usually took this dog with them. Didn't go with them on this trip. Mysteriously disappears right after the accident. Then you get all the Vincent Fusca videos. Jennifer Mack, Vincent Fusca, go on YouTube, do your homework. I'm telling you, if this isn't JFK Jr., it's somebody they spent a lot of money to make look like JFK Jr. And here's my final analysis. It's a fact that JFK Jr. and Donald Trump were friends. I don't believe that President Trump, if JFK Jr. wasn't really alive, would allow him to be used in this way. Because this is not speculation here. Whoever this Vincent Fusca is, he has been interacting with President Trump at these rallies. You can see them interact. And that's why you got to watch the Jennifer Mack videos, because she really plays this out. She also, they do some lip reading. Either it's JFK Jr. or it's someone that the president is trying to make look like JFK Jr. Now, why would they do that? Why would they expend all of this energy if it wasn't true? I think it's disrespectful for the family if it's not true. I think President Trump would understand that. And what would it gain? Even if the deep state and the Clintons murdered JFK Jr., when you've got all of this other evidence, why would you throw a 20-year-old case into the mix when you don't really need it? You know, say you had him dead to rights on murdering JFK Jr. What does that gain you? I just don't see it going down this way. I believe, and after looking at this thing pretty hard now for a couple of years, I think he's alive. I think he's alive, and I think if he's alive, he will be the vice presidential running mate of President Trump in 2020. And I think that's the other reason that these arrests are going to start before Congress gets back into session. Because at some point, listen, Pence is not going to be the vice president. I don't care what happens with JFK Jr. I can guarantee you for sure, Pence is not going to be the VP. He's done. They're actually saying that it's either a body double or he's been completely handcuffed. He's not acting on his own. He is basically playing a role, if it is really him still, because he's going down for treason and pedophilia and murdering children. He was involved. There was an assassination attempt, or a planned assassination attempt, on the 4th of July that Pence was involved in, at least in the planning of. Paul Ryan also. They're both going down for treason. So Pence is going to be gone no matter what. And at some point, they're going to have to an announcement, right? Who's going to be the running mate? We're within a year now. If you remember last time, he waited a long time before he announced. I think he'd like to announce sooner. We'll see. Yeah, Sandy's talking about the height difference. There's two guys who have played Vincent Fusca. If you look at the Jennifer Mack videos, they talk about this. Don't go on the height because they didn't sit down with a tape and measure these guys anyway. Look at the Jennifer Mack videos on YouTube, and we've got them posted on the Watchman page, also on my page. Again, guys, I just don't see, this is definitely President Trump and the NSA have all been involved in this. It's one or the other. It's either they're trying to, for some reason, make it look like JFK Jr. is still in the mix, or JFK Jr. really still is in the mix. And once you start thinking about that, what could be the possible reasons for this? There's just, to me, there's a lot more that says he's still around that he's not. So, okay, let's see what we got for questions here. You know, and this kind of this is a good time to talk about the most important thing, I think, for all of us moving forward is to have open minds. What we're going to find out in the next year is that pretty much everything that the mainstream media said was a conspiracy theory was a fact. That's what we're going to find out. We have to have open minds about everything from here on out, because let me tell you, there are going to be some shockers. Virtually nothing that we've been told is true about our history, about religion, about the world. If we don't have open minds, I think we're going to get caught. Because it's real easy, as a lot of us know. Just think about the first time you heard about the pedophilia or satanic pedophilia. And what was the first thing that came in your mind? Oh, that can't happen here. That's what that was for me. But then you find out, oh yeah, it's real. And it's way worse than you thought originally. I think there's going to be good things and bad things that go down this way. To me, for most of the history part of it, I really don't care what it is. Just give us the truth and let's move on. They've always felt like, and you know, again, it's part of that superior globalist agenda. They know better than us. We're getting away from that thought process. President Trump's going to release virtually everything that he can, and this whole scam of national security and you know 90% of the stuff they've withheld from us under the guise of national security is crap. It was just stuff they didn't want us to know about, and most of it had to do with their, when I say their, deep state globalist. Their criminality. That's all they're doing, is trying to protect themselves with that crap. No, the 17 hasn't moved down. I'm I'm uh I'm just in a different my studio slash office is now a guest bedroom with company, so it's kind of a little bit uh rearranged for now for a couple of days. Yeah, what you're going to find is a lot of these newscasters and news executives were uh, guests at Pedo Island or one of his other facilities. And listen, he had a mansion in Florida. He had a mansion in New York City. He had this Pedo Island mansion estate. All of them were wired. All of them had cameras. He videoed all of these people. Just think about the people that we know about. You know, the thing about the parties that he threw, rituals that he threw at his other houses, we don't have flight logs for them, right? We do know who went to Pedo Island. The Pope, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, many newscasters, many celebrities, many politicians. What are you going to Pedo Island for? It's not good. And they got video on all of them. Yep, Ryan is a rat, no question about it. JC, how you doing? Yeah, they get a script from the CIA, from the deep state. We've talked about that. Mike, how you doing? Yeah. David, to see you. Yeah, you know, guys, I'll tell you, I do not watch any mainstream news at all. I don't watch Fox anymore. What I'll do is I'll watch the highlights from the YouTube videos when there's something, trust me, if there's something important, you'll pick it up on your YouTube feeds. You know, if you're following guys like Greg Hunter, SGT, X22, Wham, what is it, GPS? There's 30 really solid, you know, Zero Hedge, a good one for articles. You know, and I post all this stuff. There's plenty of solid people reporting the news. It is a total waste unless you're just going to pick them apart like I did. And the thing today, I was watching YouTube when I saw the Wallace interview. So you're going to get a better take, you guys, if you watch the highlights from the guys that are trying to give you accurate news from YouTube. You're a lot better off. You'll waste a lot less time and you'll be a lot less frustrated. Because I can hardly stand to listen to these guys. It's so embarrassing. It's so outlandish, ridiculous. How they can get away with it. It's just flat out lying. Yeah, the arrests got to start coming here pretty quick. And listen, They have been investigating these crimes for a couple of years now. This didn't just start. They've been on this. Uh, well, there's two uh, slash prosecutor investigators working, and they've both been there for a while. Yeah, the sealed indictments are ready. Plus, they got grand juries working right now too. Well, we will control everything after this next election. Well, actually, after the arrests start, we'll control everything because the the Democrats aren't going to control the House anymore after these arrests start. I don't know what they're going to do. Just think about it. Most of Congress is going to be gone. They're going to be sitting at Gitmo waiting trial. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. What are they going to do? They're going to have. Were they going to appoint uh, interim congressmen and senators until the elections? I don't know. Or do they leave them empty until the elections? Yeah, the whole burial at sea thing. Yeah. They cremated him, then buried him at sea. Catholics don't do the cremation thing, guys. The Kennedys were devout Catholics. Very unlikely that he would have been cremated. Yeah, JC's got the scoop on the plane. It was a Navy SEAL who was flying that plane that night. Danielle, how you doing? Yeah, it's we'll see how those indictments break down as far as the charges. There's going to be a lot for, I think, voter fraud. There's going to still be some pedophilia coming out. There's going to be a lot, I think, that has to do with the politicians and their misdeeds. Um, Going to be good watching, that's for sure. Q says seals are friendly people. Yeah, unless you're a traitor. Yeah, Epstein did not kill himself. Yeah, company's good. Yeah, Danielle's talking about her getting her boyfriend woke up. Um, there's a couple of things you can use, Danielle. 9/11, architects and engineers for 9/11 truth. There's a ton of physical evidence around 9/11, and they just reopened the 9/11 investigation. New York just reopened it. Oh, I don't know. It was last month, I guess, 6 weeks ago, might even be 2 months ago, that they reopened the 9/11 investigation based on evidence presented by architects and engineers for 9/11 truth. Get anybody who you want to wake up, get them to watch the video on that website, architects and engineers for 9/11 truth.org. Watch the video on Building 7. And again, if you have an open mind and you listen to the facts, it'll be very clear that it, those were all controlled demolitions on 9/11. Yeah. Yeah, the Queen kicked out Andrew, and he's got no 60th birthday party. Poor guy. I think, listen, guys, anybody who's guilty of murdering children or treason, they're not going to be left in office. And I don't honestly, when a governor is removed from office, I'm not sure what the protocol is. I'm not sure who would appoint them, how that would go down. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Yeah, with Prince Andrew, I don't know. You know, I think some of these people are going to commit suicide. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with especially the royal family, because they certainly aren't used to this kind of treatment. I am not a politician. I do not work well with others. It's too much. Well, let's put it this way: it would have to be completely different before I'd ever throw my hat in the ring. Because seeing politics over my lifetime, you couldn't have paid me $1 billion to get involved. And I'm 64. um, I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't see it's not a goal of mine. It would have to be a need, and be a short term thing for me, because you know there's a lot that I want to do, in the next few years. With charity type stuff. Um, but yeah, 1,000,000,001. I'd think about it. Um, listen, I've got an open mind about the future. I mean, I've got kind of a game plan in my head. If it goes the way that I think it's going, and let me tell you, every day that goes by, it looks like the things that I've been talking about for 5 years, all of them are coming true. And if it goes that way, there's a lot of charity work that we want to do. With homeless kids, with homeless families, with homeless veterans. It's to me the biggest disgrace we've got in this country. We're the wealthiest country in the world, and we've got one of the worst homeless problems. That should never happen in a country like ours. And it's happened for a lot of different reasons, but mostly it's the financial manipulation by the deep state and the globalists. It's going to take a little bit to get this back on track once we drain the swamp, go through the economic collapse. It's going to be a year or maybe two till we get things back on track. But I think President Trump will get things back on track quickly. But there's going to be, I think, a need for people, citizens, to pull together, the ones that have the means, to help out. Because probably things are going to be kind of tight as far as the government goes, because we're basically going to be starting all over again. Now, there's some things that could come into play that might make this go a lot smoother. When I base all my analysis on the future, it's based on the fact that we don't have very much gold left, at least on record. But there are reports that we might have 5 or 10 times as much as the reports say, or even more than that, hidden away somewhere. There's a lot of reports about gold that came out of the Grand Canyon in the early 1900s. I'm talking about a lot of gold. If that was the case, we might be in a lot better spot, than I'm being shown, right, by the numbers that they give us. The gold we have at Fort Knox, it's not enough to take care of a worldwide financial collapse, but if we've got 5 or 10 times as much, it might change things. If it's what they've given us and what they've shown us, it could be a little bit of a struggle. It's going to take a while to get back on track, but we have the perfect man for the job. Throughout history, there's nobody I'd rather pick than President Trump, especially with what he's shown us the last 3 years. He's the real deal, guys. For the man that we need to straighten this country out and to get it back on track from a business and an efficiency standpoint, to cut out all the corruption and the dead weight, he's the perfect guy. So, yeah, the Egyptian gold out of the Grand Canyon. JC's on it. Okay, guys, we do have company. So I think I'm going to cut it here. Remember, if I'm right, and we're getting down to the end here, and remember last week I said the next thing I would expect to happen would be for them to hammer the cryptocurrencies. And look what's happened this past week. They hammer them down so they can buy them up right before they go through the roof. If we figure that factor in with Congress being out of session and all of the other reports that we've had coming out about the takedown of the swamp, I'm thinking this could be the couple of week period where we see those things happening. The arrests start, the economy going down. Last minute stuff, guys. And I'm telling you, keep pushing, because every day we're getting 5 or 10 new members. We're getting people buying more Litecoin and silver. People are coming out of the woodwork right now, guys. So keep pushing. It's going great. We just have to finish this thing off. All right, I'm going to end it there, guys. Remember, God and President Trump are still 1,000% in control. We'll see you tomorrow night at 5. God bless.